Yes, Hannah? I'm curious if parts of it are improvised or if it's all very structured choreographed.
One y'all want to answer?
I would say probably like 90% of it is pretty specific, but a lot of it was derived from improvised movement or chance happenings. Lots of things where like you have something set, but then it changes gradually over time. So now to us it feels very set, but I can totally see why like the natural unfolding of things could look improvised. There's always a little bit of improvisation just because working with prop and working with like untimed movement. So we're always listening and watching, improvising sometimes.
Yeah, we usually start each process where I bring in text or maybe a film. In this case, I brought in the text from the Exodus, which is from the Passover story. And I literally brought them the story. We learned about all the different characters, the different themes within it. You have Moses, the Egyptians or Pharaoh, Zipporah, burning bush, God, Hashem, and we all started improvising on what that meant to us. And not everybody in this cast is Jewish. They come from all different backgrounds. Some people had no idea about Judaism. So we bring in many different ideas together. We start to improvise and then we start setting stuff. But they do have to respond in the moment. The prop never acts the same every show. So they do have to have a door open for things to change, which is very difficult for anybody, especially when you're performing in front of a live audience. Cool. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Yeah, how was it working with that rope? That seems like it would be difficult.
I would say it's quite difficult. Sometimes it doesn't listen, and when it doesn't, it's my job in the moment to react accordingly. Just make sure that also I try to really sink into my character before the show starts, so that if the rope isn't listening, I always imagine what my character would do. And also I think a lot of times like we will have in our movements places that we will make sure we can give ourselves some leeway so that if it doesn't listen we can have some sort of way to fix it. Generally though, it's a lot of rehearsal and practicing to make sure, especially that beginning scene when we're fighting, to make sure that we know exactly what's happening with it, because sometimes it can get a little scary. So I think we've done it enough that we can just like really tune into it.
Anyone else want to share their experience working with a prop, this prop, maybe other props we use?
I realized how weak I was when we were pulling Suki at first. I was like, I need to get stronger. There's another piece where we work with fabrics, and it was another temperamental thing to work with. Sometimes it will bunch up when you don't want it to bunch up. It'll slip and slide on some floors. So again, like they were saying, just being open to when you might slip on the fabric. How are you going to make it look like it was part of what you were trying to do, part of your character, and not let that mess you up throughout the whole rest of the piece? Because you can't just like sit in it. You have to be like, okay, that happened. Just keep going. So
Yeah, all of our work takes a lot of rehearsal. Everyone here is a full-time dancer. Some of them do work other jobs, but this is really like their lives, is making sure their bodies are strong, their minds are strong, spirit, and then rehearsing so much. Every space is different, so it's a lot of effort that goes into just their daily selves to be these artists. Any other questions, comments? Yes.
Hi guys, not a question at all, a few comments. I think you guys brought in something that personally I've never seen before. I feel like in any type of art, music, dance, anything like that, you have to believe what you see. And me personally, sitting here, I was, from the second you got on stage till the second you left stage, I think the combination that you achieved together as a group and individually, but together obviously it's more powerful. The strength, the chemistry and the uniqueness and you guys were just like united, and it was, and then you weren't, and you were like apart and arguing and fighting and this, and everything was so on point. Personally, I think was incredible. But the most important thing for me, besides the togetherness with the music and everything, it's super powerful. I believed every single punch, kick, expression, grunt, yell. It's fucking amazing to see. It's really, really impressive. So good job.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, I just really, really enjoyed it, and I think we all probably have an idea of Exodus, but it's such a universal story for any oppressed people that are in bondage, or the book represented so many for me: physical bondage, likely bondage, political bondage. Like, what is that, and how do we free ourselves from that? And I'm wondering, you don't even have to answer, the shadows behind watching the shadows behind all of you. At some points there'd be one person standing, but they would have 3 to 4, 5, 6 shadows behind them. And for me, my take from that was like the veil between our shadow self, or is this our ancestors, is this our spirits? Who are these people behind you that are helping you in this journey? And I just thought it was really beautiful, so thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to say in response to that, that's really the point of why Psychopomp exists, and why myself and then all these wonderful dancers and our tech people are making this work, is that yes, maybe it's a specific story, like the Exodus tells a story that is connected to a certain group of people, and that's very valid, and that's their truth, and it's all real, but it is a universal tale, and I think that that's something that I want to bring to more people, is that the Jewish struggle, insert whatever group you want to insert or person, there is universality in that, and the division is not helpful. It's together, understanding and seeing humanity in all people, that is going to, I think, heal a lot of things that are going on. And I really loved your comment about ancestors and like the shadows, just because I think that the story is ancient, and every year in the Passover story, you retell the same tale. My grandparents, great-grandparents, thousands of years. And so each year, when it is in April, but when we sit down at the Seder table, we are sitting down with our ancestors. And I think remembering who you are and bringing that forward is so important. So thank you for that comment. I think you had a question?
I was very impressed with the choreography and the fact that they were so aware of where each other was at all times, and no one got kicked in the face. I think you guys did a great job.
Does anyone want to just comment on how are you so aware?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Lots of eye contact, rehearsing together, just getting to know each other's bodies, what decisions someone else is
this 360 understanding of the world. Like they bring it out of the studio, which is something that I think that we should all do, is bring that awareness of all of us, who's around you and how we affect each other. Cool. And well, there's any other questions or comments?
One other thing.
Yeah.
Is I went to actually two Milk Kings events today, which is why I'm dressed like a fly. And again, it's the same type of thing, depression and how you deal with depression. It's not, I'm Jewish, yes, I've got 5,700 years of that. But today, I went to help other people. I went to be one with people that are now under depression. And it's universal, unfortunately.
Yeah, and what I really do love about the end of this piece is something that I took from the Exodus story is at the towards the end of, at least when the Israelites are crossing the Red Sea and they're leaving Egypt and they're going to freedom, is that Pharaoh, the one who was the oppressor, the waters close on him, but instead of him being drowned in the story, God actually maroons Pharaoh on a rock. And you can interpret that as you wish, but the way I interpreted it, and then we put it together, was at the end, they're encircled by their own oppression, their own, so they're in the same shackles that at first Mizuki was in. But they still have the opportunity as they leave to change, to be different, to understand. And I think that's really important to remember is that there is always an opportunity to grow and learn and change. And I think that that's one of the most beautiful parts of the Exodus story, and I like that we ended it that way together. And last thing I'll say is I just want to congratulate Anna on her first performance. Once again, I just want to thank the Burbank Arts Commission and also this creative space and the people who, helped us put this show on and open the space to us. So definitely, I hope there'll be more things here. And thanks again to the Grants Commission. And on your way out, if you would like to make a donation, I will be standing out there, or someone will be standing out there. We have Venmo. We can take cash. You can have a cookie. And thank you so much